Yeah, I mean, once again, with the ego, mind, identity, words are overrated. We give too much credit to what we say. More balancing is necessary. More inside, less outside. More vibration and less action. Of course, the ego, mind, identity, and being impressed with activity and sound. We give a lot of credit to what's being done and what we say. And a lot of times, we forget the source. We forget the substance. We forget the feeling. Too much bread, not enough sandwich. Too much bread, bro, not enough sandwich. I know you talking and pushing and projecting. But we need to feel. We need to feel too. I heard what you said, but once again, I need to feel what you're saying. The more internal cultivation, the more emotional content in what's being expressed. That's what's so beautiful about healing. As you heal and do this internal dive, this internal cultivation, when you have something to say, it's packed with emotional content. The emotional content is, one would say down here, that's the meat and potatoes of this thing. The emotional content, it got to be felt. A lot of times we focus a lot on the expression and the articulation and, once again, the details of the literature. It's like, I got you, but I need to feel what you're saying. That comes from a deeper sense of personal cultivation. It's necessary to pay more attention inside. Yeah, no doubt. All biscuits, no steak. Come on, bro. You giving me these Popeyes biscuits? I ain't got no water. It's just too, you know what I mean? It's like I'm getting clogged up over here. It's sometimes, like, just for an example, sometimes you see in the hip hop community a guy like, start spitting a freestyle and it's like, well, this and this and this and this and this, all these words, and he's trying to pass the test with a bunch of intellectualism, and it's like, nah, that's not it. That ain't it. You rhymed all them words, but I ain't feel you. If there was more emotional content, more soul, more depth in what was being said, like, I would feel you, versus just a bunch of talking and the words and I ate a sandwich and blah blah blah. Like, nah, dog, I ain't feeling it because it's just words. I'm not connecting with you. The empathy of what's being expressed. You only hear DMX going the opposite of the pizzazz and the opposite of this and that. Nah, some be praying, but it's just the depth of what's being expressed. He really feels what's being said. This is simply a metaphor to the approach of one's experience of life itself, your approach to self-expression. Here's why authenticity is so important, because once again, you reach that kind of depth when you really feel what you're saying. When it comes from your heart, there's great passion behind your realizations and the things that you would like to share. There's real authenticity when it's time to talk versus just talking to be talking. Energy and vibration is where all the power is. Energy and vibration, that's where all the power is. The emotional content of what's being expressed, what you have to express. When we listen, we barely feel the vibration of our listening. Consider that. When we listen, are we actively engaged in the listening of the vibration? That's what Ike meant. If you go sing the song, I want to feel it in my skin. Like you got to sing. That's what he meant, talking to Tina. No, we find ways to channel that power, that energy. Of course, we train and exercise and do all the things to release the energy, but of course, we don't lose our passion for what it is that we're talking about. And once again, when I say passion, I'm talking about our love for what we're saying. Not anger, not frustration, not just pure fire. We're talking about that white heat that comes from expressing that which you love. That's the flame we're working with. That's what we're talking about when we talk about that passion. The white heat that comes from engagement of that which you love. We're not talking about hate. We're not talking about anger. We're talking about that which you love, your enthusiasm, absolutely. And feels from God. So here's a suggestion. When you begin to express yourself, feel the energy, the emotion that you access. Allow your self-expression to be an exercise of emotional consciousness as well. With doing that, we allow ourselves the opportunity to fine-tune how we're expressing ourselves emotionally, how to engage on command our emotional body in our expressions. Feel what you're saying consciously. Consider what you're expressing. as a prayer. DMX was amazing at that. Conviction and context. Nah, once again, Dogman X was great at that. These are tools of manifestation, of cultivating that which you intend to express here amongst this reality. This sense of emotional engagement in your communications. No, once again, it requires mastery to consciously operate on that level in living form on a day-to-day basis. It's gonna